Hello, it's Nikki and welcome to another Sumeru video. This is gonna be our Act 2 wrap up. So we have the end of the Sabzeruz festival and we finally have my character log for this quest, and I chat about a lot of things. So stick towards the end if you would like to catch my thoughts, but without further ado, let's get into it. No, everything's not okay. No, everything's wrong.
実験? また急ですね。どんな実験をするのです?
何か願い事ってないか?
This is an interesting way to go about testing this.
家臣探査に願い事をするイベントなんてあったでしょうか?
Like, how else would you get him to like try and change things, you know?
わかりました。
It could not be him though, so I guess we don't know still. Oh, that's so cute. That's adorable. How sweet. I don't know if how this would work though. Like, how would this come to fruition? Yes, O is right, Paimon. O is right. Oh, what a sweetheart.
以前はこうではなかったんです。優しくて気配りができ、子供たちからも好かれていたんですよ。
Oh.
それにもしかしたら私に花の騎士ファーリスをやらせたのも。
Oh, wait, is this a crush? I thought he was just being nice, but I think this is a crush. Damn, not me having the same not me having the same emotional intelligence as Paimon. It is pretty obvious. I thought you were just being nice. But he does. Okay, well, how could you not? She's a lovely lady. Aww. Okay.
しかしお嬢様は知りません。私は他の方の気持ちなんてあまり気にしていないと。あの時の私はただ、
Okay,
彼女の
well,
花の騎士になりたかった。50年でも100年でも。
Maybe tone it down if you ever bring this up to her. Like, you want to ease into that. I wouldn't right off the bat go on about, you know, eternity.
笑顔で私の目の前に現れるです。今から願
Oh,
い
it's
事
still
をしますね。
sweet though.
頼む、叶ってくれ。
Oh, please come true.
では、目を開けますよ。
Did it work?
あ、これは。
Turn the camera. Dang.
パッチ。
Okay.
ダメじゃないですか。
So he's not the
一人
dream's
一つまでだよ。
host.
早くお帰り。
Who is it then? Who else could it be
結局
who
叶
has
いま
like
せんでし
a
たね。
really deep knowledge of this
まあ、
festival?
私の目の前にいなくても元気であればそれだけでいいんですが。
どうやら夢の主はこい
It
つじゃ
couldn't.
なか
It's
っ
not
たみたい
dehya,
だな。
right?
やっ
His
ぱりそう簡単には見つから
I
ない
mean,
か。
maybe. It's either dehya or like nilou or something, right? It has to be one of
ドニア
them.
ザードを知ってる人た
Those
ち
are the
は
only two characters
み
we've
んなあい
met.
つのことが好きみたいだな。
And Catherine's a robot. I mean, so it can't be
み
her.
んなの知らないうちにあいつは。
Oh. Not us hearing dehya all the way.
そっか。この時間はちょうどドニア
Okay.
ザードが人さらいに会った
I'll
時だ。
teach them a lesson. Not Lumine. She's literally letting off steam.
旅人。
Like, I'm pretty sure Lumine doesn't have to be a part of this. Like, Dehya can take care of this, but Lumine just wants to punch someone in the face.
ちょうどいい
Honestly,
時に来た。お嬢、おい。
yeah.
これ
Go
は
ahead.
私の仕
No,
事
no, no.
だ。
I got this. I need to punch someone.
わかった
Wasting your breath.
何
Go
を
ahead,
苛立ってる
girly.
の私は何も
I
あん
need
た
to
の
punch
実力を
something.
疑っちゃいないんだが。いい
After all this
だろ
fuckery,
う。くれぐれも気をつけろよ。
Lumine, I feel you. Oh, these poor men. No. Oh my gosh. We really. Oh my gosh. All right, let's have at it.
旅人、お前完全にあいつらで鬱憤を晴らしてたよな。
Okay, Paimon picked up on it.
お前もナヒーダも
Oh,
ソニア
that's
ガー
true.
ドはそんなお前たちを見たくないはずだぞ。
But like, we gotta let it out somehow.
そうだ。そういえば、おい
I
ら
can't
一つ思
imagine
い出した
how I
こと
would
があるん
fare
だ。
in Lumine's place, honestly.
初めて家臣探査に参加した時、つまりまだ輪廻に入ってなかった時のことだけど、
I
オイラたち
do.
とドニアザードってここへ何か取りに来たよな。確か忘れ物をしたから取りに来たって言ってたよな。
Yes.
オイラの記憶力もなかなか悪くないだろ。それにあいつはこの近くに住んでるってのも覚えてるぞ。おう、どんなに小さな手がかりでも海で針を探すよりはマシだからな。
But it's okay. It's not Dehya then, right? My money is on Nilou for like the dream
ここ
host.
だ。勝手に人の家に入るのは良くないけど、今はそんなこと言ってられないよな。
Oh, she's saying it's okay to break in if the times call for it. Oh my god, I'm so dead. But they also, the Grand Sage, personally visited Nilou and like confronted her specifically the night before. So my money's on Nilou being the host. Because she's at the epicenter of the whole thing too. So she would have the most detailed memory of the day, you know? Alright, what's this? Oh boy. Okay. Get these notes written. Okay. Immediately. I was hoping I'd be able to give you that before. So Kuslani. So many people. Okay, water supply. Drinkable. Wow, I can't believe she wrote all of this for us. This is really sad too, because she's like, I don't know if I'll live long enough to help you. It's awful. Then sleep. Okay, so this is kind of what she told us in when we were having dinner with her and Dehya. A gentle god. She could have sworn she saw her. She was tall. What? It was probably a tree. These folk records appended with her references. Wow, leave every page densely packed. I can't believe she wrote all of that for us. And like researched that for us. That makes this so much worse. We have to save her. I'm genuinely still so distressed about that. Not the sad piano music. Get the fuck out of here. I don't need help feeling sad. No.
この本が見つかってなかったら、あいつがこんなことをやってたなんて知らないままだった。でも、今さら分かっても。
No, she can't be dead. There's like she's not. There's no way. I don't accept it.
今度はどこ行くんだよ。
Where is Lumine off to? Oh my god, we're gonna go talk to her? Like the fake version of her? Her echo, you should say. This is not like actually her, huh? Not this music! Shut up with this music. I can't. It's beautiful, but I can't. I don't like listen, I don't want to cry. I narrowly avoided it earlier. When her bed was empty, narrowly avoided crying, and I really, really don't want to cry right now. Oh. Okay, furniture popping in. No!
ドニアザードの人形だ。
Oh, I'll feel better if I say this out loud. Oh my gosh!
旅人。
Wow, this is really...
疲れちゃったか?
This is... Not that I didn't think it would, but this is really affecting Lumine, like, heavily.
考えてみると、もうここに長いこと閉じ込められてるもんな。ドニアザードと楽しく話をしたのも、なんだかすごく昔のことのように感じるし。
Not the little sepia memories. Stop. Stop it! Enough! Wow, this music is just... It's so beautiful. Wow, look at her face.
あの時はみんなここに座ってドニアザードも目を輝かせながらニーローの家臣の舞を見るんだって言ってたよな。
生きていれば必ず悩みは生まれる。でも私たちはみんな悔いのないように生きているわ。そうでしょ？
Wait.
今の言葉、過去にドニアザードが言ってたことだよな。まさか。
ん？どうしたの？旅人。
Wait, now her voice sounds like monotone again.
相変わらず人形のあい
No, what
つ
was
みたいだ。
that?
でもさっきのは一体。
Let's go? Where are we going?
今度はどこに行くんだ？
To watch the dance? Wait. It's gotta be Nilou. I think Lumine's figured it out. Or at least that's what I'm betting on. I'll sound really stupid if it's not. But I'm like betting. I'm pretty sure it's Nilou. That's the only person left, really, who it could be. I don't know if I'm emotionally prepared for whatever this scene is about to be.
Nope.
これ以上続けるのなら家臣探査の関係者全員を処罰することになるわ。
Not the Dutch angle for the camera
すでに
shift.
大賢者も目をつぶっていらっしゃるの。状況をわきまえてちょうだい。
Yeah, these two can go fuck off. But I'm pretty sure this confirms that Nilou is the one they chose to be the host of the dream. Ooh. Oh, Lumine is pissed. Oh!
旅人？私たち
He's
の
a
ために
sage. I don't care if he was an archon. I could care less who he is.
教霊院の賢者なの。
He's a plague on this
あなたまで
nation.
巻き込まれたらどう
A
するの？
plague on both your houses.
旅人
Yeah, remember my name, bro.
旅人、いきなり何やってんだよ。もし教霊院の人に捕まったら今日一日が無駄になっちゃうだろう。あれ、こいつら反応がないぞ。びっ
Yeah.
くりした。あ、そうか。 これが賢者たちの計画なら
Absolutely
自分たち
not.
を巻き込むようなことはしないよな。
Poor Nilou. Is she gonna figure this out?
こいつらも代替品なんだ。どういうこと？大賢者たちがどうしたの？
Wait, are we the flowers? Wait,
パティサラは
these are the flowers that don't exist anymore. They're extinct.
残念ながら
Ooh,
本当のパティサラは
what a
家臣様が
cool
逝去されると同時
catch.
に絶滅してるの。
そうね。マハールッカ・デバータ様が家臣様を記念
That's
して
so
作られたパティサ
cool.
ラも結局はあの鮮やかな悪紫色を再現できなかった。
Could never replicate the beautiful shade of purple. Wow. So this is what Nilou imagines those flowers to look like, because she's never seen them.
鮮やかな赤紫色。これって伝説にある本当のパティサラだよね。今まで気づかなかったけど、まさかドニアザードが見つけてきてくれたのかな。でもお前言ってたよな。この花は家臣が逝去すると同時に絶滅したって。まさか。
Nilou's the host. Everybody keep up.
一体どういうことなんだろう。
Close your eyes, girly. Imagine the Grand Sage and his entourage are not here.
なんか変だよ。でもわかった。やってみるね。
Ooh, I love the bell toll. She is. I knew it.
夢の主はニーローだったのか。まさ赤紫色のパティサラはもうこの世に存在してない。つまりここの舞台を飾ることができるのは、ニーローの潜在意識以外ありえないってことか。ナヒーダが言ってた比喩を使うなら、人々は皿の中に料理があると思うけど、ニーローは植木鉢の中に伝説のパティサラがあると思ったんだな。
This is true.
だからあの二つの花を見た瞬間、お前はニーロー
Yeah,
の
we
夢の
got this.
主だって確信したんだろ。
We got this earlier.
輪廻を終
I
わら
don't
せ
know
るに
why
は
the
夢
narrative
の
is
主に自我の意識を芽生えさせる必要があ
explaining
るん
it
だ
to
よな。
us.
どうやってニーローに気づかせてやればいいんだ。私夢を見てるんだよね。
Well, the two people disappeared in front of her eyes just now.
やっぱりね。家臣
Oh, she believed it because of her faith in the Lesser Lord and Nahida. That is cool. Or like a cool tie-in
完全に違うとも言
to
え
the
ないな。
overall themes of the plot.
でもなんで夢だって気づいたんだ。
You mean aside from the disappearing people?
スメール人は夢を見ないはずだろ。
This is true.
あなたたち一人目の賢者の物語は聞いたことあるかな。
The first sage.
最悪から逃れるために送信を探す旅に出た人の話なんだけど。
Hmm.
それなら聞いたことあるぞ。オイラたちがスメールシティに来たばかりの頃、ドニア
Interesting.
ザードが教えてくれた話だ。その旅に出たやつが一人目の賢者なんだよな。ええ。でもあなたたちが聞いた話では、彼は一人目の賢者に
There's
まだ
always more to the
なっていなか
story,
った。
isn't there?
その物語にはまだ続きがあるの。彼の敬虔な心と英知は送信に認められた。だから送信は彼に祝福を与えることにしたの。一人目の賢者の前に現れるさまざまな不可思議な光景、それはまるで全世界の知識が具象化され目の前に現れたかのようで彼を魅了した。
Wow.
どれくらいの時が経ったのかはわからないけど、 彼は自分に理解できる知識を全て掌握した。その後、彼は送信にこう言うの。両親や妻、子供に会いたい。もう長く家に帰っていないから、きっと心配しているだろうと。送信は微笑むと、次の瞬間、賢者は自分がベッドの上で横になっていることに気づくんだ。まるで夢から覚めたかのようにね。
Me no likey. Me no likey.
それでそばにいる妻がこう言うの。今日は送信を探しに出る日よね。気をつけていってらっしゃい、あなたって。
So he was...
それから一人目の賢者はスメールシティに訪れていた最悪を
Wait a
いくつ
minute.
も
This
解
ties
決し
into how people
教
access
令員
the
を設立するんだ。
Ermin Soul too, which of course is connected to the Dendro Archon. Ooh, that's
つま
cool.
り一人目の賢者は物語の最初からずっと夢の中にいたのか？というか出発すらしてなかったんだな。きっと彼の敬虔な心と決意が送信に届いて、夢という形で祝福を授けてくれたんだと思う。
I'm just now noticing her nails are painted.
なるほどな。
That's cute.
お前の考
Sorry.
えは分かった
Off
ぜ。
topic.
確かに面白いけど、オイラたちも早く目を
Yeah,
覚ま
so
さな
if
きゃい
she's
け
aware
な
of
いん
it,
だ。
we should be able
そうな
to
んだ。
get the hell out.
ちょうど今日の家臣探査も終わりを迎える時間だね。
How do we disrupt things? Maybe by completing the
せ
day.
っかく夢の中にいるんだから、最後の家臣
Oh,
の
she's
前
gonna
は
dance.
少し派手に踊ってもいいかな。
Oh, I've been waiting a long time for this. Or please dance your heart out. Oh. Okay, I'm ready. Ooh.
お待たせ、みんな。私が家臣の舞を神へ捧げるね。
Is the dream dissolving? Oh, it is. Oh, Deniazard's not
家臣の舞を見られなかったの
here.
はちょっと残念かな。
Wait, why is she a ghost? Oh wait, wait, why is her ghost blue? And everyone else's is yellow. Everyone else is gold, why is she blue? Why was her ghost blue? She's not dead. She's not. I refuse to believe it. That was very beautiful, by the way.
おはよう、旅人。なんだかすごく眠ってた感じがするぜ。
Wait, we have our memory, right? If we don't, I'm gonna flip.
頭がクラクラする。
We
寝すぎたのかな。
Okay, I gotta keep it together.
昨日の夜、
Ooh, deep breaths.
たんだっけ
It's fine. Like, it's fine. It's fine.
確か家臣探査が終わってから家臣探査
Wait, we do remember?
オイラたちもう家
Okay.
臣
Oh,
探査の輪廻から抜
fuck.
け出せた
Oh
ん
my
だよ
god,
な
that scared me. Okay, we do remember.
まずはアーカーシャ端末を
Okay.
外そう
Yes, wait, is she... Why was her ghost blue? Please, 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 please be alive. Please, please, please.
部屋にいないぞ
Why did... Yeah, we need to go to the spot. Maybe? Oh god, I don't know. I'm nervous.
どこのことを言ってるんだ
What do you mean, what spot? Have you been paying attention? She better be there. If she's not, I swear. Like, I swear. Oh, my heart can't take it. Oh my god, okay, she's there. Wait, what the hell was that, Catherine? What the
よ
fuck?
くやったわね
Oh,
旅人
wait, that's Nahida's voice. Wait,
それとありがとう
she, okay, hold on, she's
私のた
alive.
めに家臣探査を開催してくれて
First of all, round of applause for Duny being alive. Oh my gosh, thank God. But how did Nahida possess Catherine? Wait, why was Duny soul blue? Help, what is that? What did that mean? Was that just gaslighting me into thinking she was dead? If so, fuck you, HOYO-verse.
夢の中でミーローが
Oh.
家臣の舞を踊ってたのよ
Okay, well, maybe because she has Eleazar or something? She's not cured yet. What? Oh, okay, talk to Catherine. I was like, excuse me? Okay. We can still talk to Catherine. Okay, hold on. Let's talk to Catherine.
お前実はナヒーダなんだろう通りで家臣探査の
Okay, wait, so we're just saying this in front of
キャサリ
Dunyazard?
ンの様子がおかしいと思った
Wait, I guess
わけだ
Dunyazard wouldn't
ぜ
know Nahida's
そ
name.
れと
Like that she's the
ドニャザードの
archon.
こともお前が助けてくれ
Did
たの
you
か
save her?
それは話すと長くなるわそれに
Is
今は病人
weakened.
の収束を邪魔しない方がいい
Yeah, because we haven't cured her or anything, but at least she's alive.
とても衰弱しているから
Wait,
場所を
so
変えて話しましょう
let's chat somewhere
旅
else.
人の大好きなあのベンチの近くでいいかしら
You mean the depression bench? Sure. Wait, so I guess so Nahida is still trapped. Hold on, let's check in with our girly before we
私を
go.
見た途端そんなに興奮するなんて
Oh my
一
gosh.
晩会ってないだけじゃない
実は
おかしいわね私そんなに眠っていたかしら
Oh my god, I'm so happy she's alive.
まずはドニアザードのことから話そうぜ
Yes, I agree.
家臣探査の最後の日私はあなたたちと別れた後シティの外に行って旅人が話していた光景を見てきたの、無数にある無境の中だんだんと薄れていく夢を見つけたわそれは私の推測を裏付けるものだった、
So she went to find Dunyazard's like spirit person. I guess it's cool that they changed her name to Nahida now instead of Catherine. I'm still curious as to how she's controlling Catherine though.
ドニアザードがアーカー社による夢の搾取に完全に耐えられなくなった後その意識が散逸してしまった
Maybe her soul was blue because she was like weaker than everyone else. She was like fading. It also meant it escaped the Akasha's control. Okay.
わずかに残った意識も長くは続かず本来自分があるべき夢へと戻
It
る
will return to its original dream. Interesting. Okay.
そしてそれは無境と共に薄れていくの消失してしまうまでね
Okay.
私は全力でドニアザードの無境を維持したわ。けど長くは
Oh
持ちそうになかっ
shit. She was like personally keeping
た。あなたたちが
Duny's
輪
are
廻を破ってくれ
alive.
たの。
Well, thank God.
つまり
I guess literally thank God. thank the Archon.
最後の最後。
Wow.
あのどうして二人とも嬉しそうに笑っているの？
I was
こ
close.
ういう時は感動で涙を流すものだと思っていたけどどっちでもいいんだよ。そういうのは人によるんだ。
I normally react with tears,
それ
but
以外にもま
I
だ
have a
多
lot
く
of
の疑問があ
questions.
るんじゃないかしら。あなたたちは私の
okay.
経験なる信徒を救ってくれた。そのお返しに私も全ての答えをあなた厳密に言うと私はアーカー社を媒介にして
A medium.
キャサリンの意識を占有
Because
して
she's
い
a
るの。
robot? Huh. I mean, Okay, so she can occupy robots. We don't really know how
そんな
Catherine
のどうやってやるん
functions,
だよ。
though.
キャサリン、なんかかわいそうだな。アーカー社端末をつけているものなら、理論上は彼らの脳裏に入ること
Okay,
ができる
no,
わ。
nothing against you, Nahida, but can I take this thing off?
マハール・カデバータの
PTSD.
遺産。そして私はクラクサ・ナリデビであり、最初のアーカー社端末でもある。私
The
の意
first
識は常
terminal
にアーカー社につながっているの。
is linked, okay?
でも私は常にスメールの民の自己意志を尊重している。彼らの意識を占有したことは一
Snezhnayan
度もない。
puppet!
必要な時はこのスネージナヤのバイオニック人形を借りているわ。
Okay, wait. I'd figured she was a puppet, but Snezhna... Hello? I wonder if there's any risks to that. Wait, so that means every... I mean, I knew that... I mean, I heard theories about Catherine being, like, a spy. But this is such an interesting take, that she's, like, she's a
ちょっと
robot.
待て。なんか
A
今
Snezhnayan
さらっと
robot?
すごいことが判明しなかったか。キャサリンってそうだったのか。
Okay, what the
どうして
fuck?
変なところが多かったんだな。
That does not make me comfortable at
お
all.
前自身の体はどうしたんだよ。なんでずっとこんな方法を
Catherine was one of the
使ってるん
first
だ。
NPCs we interacted
確
with.
かお前ってスラサタンナ聖書に住んでるんだよな。
I don't think live is the correct term.
かなり昔のことから話さないといけないわね。マ
Newly
ハール・カデバータ
born.
が消えた後、
Back
賢
to
者たちは
Sumeru?
生ま
Wait,
れ
where
たば
was
かりの
she?
私を見つけ、スメールに
Where
連
did
れ
they
帰った
find
の。
her?
当時の私は
If not in
幼く
Sumeru.
無力だった。賢者たちは守るという名目で、私をスラサタンナ
Wow,
聖
quote
書に
unquote
閉じ込
protecting.
め、
Yeah, she's being locked
でも
up.
私には分かっていたわ。本当に見つけたかったのは、マハール・カデバータの正教を裏付ける私ではなく、マハール・カデバータそのものであったことを。つまり、賢者たちは自分たちの新しい神を軟禁してるってことか。ある意味では、彼らは間違っていないの。マハール・カデバータは全知全能。命が尽き果ててもなお。それに比べて私は、知恵の神の名を担ぐには到底ほど遠い。国を統治する
Okay,
にも、
in what way are they more proficient at governing, my girl? Like,
私の存在に
I understand you've got confidence issues, but I feel like it's been proven pretty clearly that the academia is far from proficient at governing this country, considering the issue we just solved. You know, the samsara we just broke everybody out of, you know, the mass brainwashing and dream harvesting. I'm pretty sure that's a poor sign. So I think we need a little reality check there, my girl. Just a small one. I mean, I'm assuming she's okay. If we're assuming that the older goddess died around the calamity, we don't really know for sure, but that's about 500 years. So Nahida is 500 years old, which is by no means young. but I just think it's we have a pretty big problem. Your academia is a little corrupt, I would say.
そうそうナヒーダにはもう信徒がたくさんいる
Like, her heart's in the right place. I just think she doesn't realize she has as much power as she
あり
does.
がとう
And maybe that's due to her being like locked up
意識を
and
アー
like
カーシャにつなげら
purposefully,
れる私には
like,
身
you
体
know,
的な
she's
自
been
由
like
は必
put
要
away in
な
a
いの
box essentially.
私にとって世界中を救うことこそが使命
Save
であり
Irminsul.
最優先事項その方法を探しながら一人
Hmm.
前の神になれるよう尽力するわ時々知恵の神の責任を担って道に迷った民を導く
It's not enough. It's
そ
not
れだ
enough.
けで十分なの
But we'll probably get there. It'll probably be her
旅
arc
人は
too
アビディアの森にいた時
to realize
魔法の
that.
影響で気を失ったんだその時巨大な木と赤い空を見たって言ってた
Yes, it took us to
そ
see
れに加え
Irminsul.
て一人の声が聞こえた
Oh,
そうでしょ
yes.
キーワードは世界と忘却かしらそうそうやっぱり知ってたんだなずっとそれが何なのか
Ooh,
聞き
name
たかったん
dropping
だ
Conria. I don't know if she'll know much about that. Ironically, the god of wisdom.
どうやら旅人は世界樹とつながったようねそれは世界樹の
Residual
中にある
consciousness.
マハールッカ・デバータの意識の残骸が残したメッセージ
Ooh.
もしくは彼女が死ぬ間際の最後の記憶かもしれないわ知っていると思うけどマハールッカ・デバータはカーン・ルイヤの最悪の後に失踪したのだからタイミング的には合っているしあなたたちの疑いは理にかなっているものよ
Okay.
マハールッカ・デバータが残したメッセージオイラたちてっきりあのスカーレット・キングの方かと思ってたぞ
I mean, we don't even know who that
スカーレットキング
is.
あのさらに前
Even
に亡く
longer
なった魔
ago.
人今もまだスカーレット・キングを
Some
信仰している
conspiracy.
砂
So
漠
he
の民がい
was
るから
an actual
そうな
god.
のかじゃあ
Interesting.
あのメッセージの内容はどんな意味だったん
So
だ
the Dendro
私にはまだ
Archon,
解読できないわたとえ今のアーカ
was
ー
she
シャが持
equal
つ
in
能
power
力
to the
を
goddess
使
of
っても
flowers and the Scarlet
マ
King?
ハールッカ・デバータが世界
I
中
wonder.
に残した意識はまるで汚染されているかのように非常に危険な
Contaminated.
気配を含んでいる
Oh, huh.
たとえ修行を積んでいるあまたの学者
Go
たちでさ
mad.
え
Okay, so it is some sort of contamination.
完全に狂ってしまうのでも世界中を救う鍵がその中にあると私は信じている幻覚で見たあの木が世界樹だったのかティナリも言ってたよな世界樹が病気になったってもしかして汚染された意識のせいなのかでもお前ですらあの幻覚の意味がわからないなんてオイラたち無駄足だったってことか
Well, I don't know if it was in vain. We did save all these innocent people from being brainwashed for the rest of their
あの意
lives.
識に触れても全く影響を受けなかったそんな人は初めてよいえ
Interesting.
私たちは必ずその中にある秘密を解き明かさなくてはならないわこれは世界樹のテイワットの存亡をかけて挑戦する
Taybots! Oh, God. No pressure.
教令
Yeah,
員
those
による
sages.
スメールの統治に大きな問題は一度もなかった彼らが正しい方向から逸脱したのを見たのはこれが
I
初
feel
め
like
てよ
this is a plan they had to be prepping for a while, no?
一体何が起きたのか何の目的があって彼らをそうさせたのかここにいる人々はほとんど異変に気づいていないけど旅人が家臣探査の任務を破ってくれ
dire
てい
is
なかった
one way to
ら
put it, yeah.
本当に深刻な事態になっていたかもしれ
Are
ない
they
わ
gonna
ね
target Nilou? I mean, they knew they made her the host and she broke it. Are they gonna like go and try and kill her or something? Like,
私もアーカー社を通して調査した
I'm
けど
concerned.
疑わしい資料は何もなかったわ主要な人物もアーカー社端末をつけていないようね
Suspicious.
おそらく 彼らは意図的に何かを隠そうとしている。
I definitely agree with you there.
そういえばガンダルバー村にいた時、一人の賢者がティナリをあるプロジェクトに誘ってたけど、
Some definite
まさか
fuckery
その
going
ことだった
on.
のかな。とにかく賢者たちの意図を調べ、それを正して罰
Punish
する
them, I
ことを優
agree.
先しなくてはならないわ。
If needed.
それ
Needed
と
for
同時に
sure.
ヤブをつつい
Off
て
with their
ヘビを出
heads.
さないよう気をつけないと。
I don't think she'll execute them, but I can always hope. Alright, no one realized the issue.
アーカー
Yes.
社のせいで夢を見ないことかしら。
Mm-hmm.
そうだぞ。こんな長い間誰もおかしいって思わなかったのか。気づかないのではなく気にしないの。
Yeah, because the sages pushed the propaganda.
賢者たちによる
Yeah, exactly.
ミスディレクションよ。
Exactly. We heard that the first
ミスディレクシ
NPC
ョン
conversation. Yes.
賢者たちは人々に夢を見ないことが理性と英知の表れであり、
Mm-hmm.
スメール人の栄誉だと思わせているわ。けれど実際はただアーカー社によって夢が収穫され
That's
ている
so
だけ。
fucked.
賢者たちはそのおかげでアーカー社を最大限に利用することができ、
Exactly.
それに当時マハールッカ・デバータがアーカー社を創造したのもそれを有効に使ってほしいと思ったからに違いないわ。
Wait, against this? What
だ
do you
から
mean
私
against?
はこの件に対してこれといって大きな異論はなかったの。
Wait. So, hold on. She's saying she didn't intervene when they were.
賢者たちの主張する考え方は疑いの声をかき消した。ひいてはアーカー社端末を一度も使ったことがなく、夢を見られるスメール人さえもそれを口にしてはならない恥だと思うようになったの。
Hmm.
そう、私の回答が旧知者であるあなたたちに満足してもらえることを願っているわ。
Well, they were certainly enlightening.
実は
But I have a
ド
lot
ニア
more
ザードに
questions.
消えかかった無境を維持していた時、私の精神力にも大きな負担がかかってしまったの。
Hmm.
だから少し休まないといけないみたい。
Okay. This is interesting. So it really exhausted her.
その間、賢者たちの行動はそれほど心配しなくてもいいわ。
What do you mean? Don't
多数
worry.
単細の輪廻のような大掛かりなこと、アーカー社が短期間で2度も行うことはできないから。
Okay, well, I'm sure that's true, that they can't do the same thing again so soon, but I feel like there's going to be pretty immediate, urgent retaliation on their part to
寝てていいぞ。オイラたちが見守ってるから安
leave
心しろ。
everything to us. Hello.
頼もしいわね。
Oh, Lord. Okay. I'm going to be paranoid till the
旅人
next...
さん、パイモン？
Oh, hi,
私は
Catherine. I'm going to be
どうして
paranoid
こ
till
こ
the
に？
till we get the next archon quest. I mean,
無憂ってやつじゃないか。
Lord.
ほら、無憂してる人を呼び覚ましちゃ
Not
ダメだ
Paimon
って言うから
gaslighting
な。
her. Poor Catherine. Well, I guess she's a robot and a spy for
そろ
Snezhnaya,
そろメンテナン
so
スの方を探さなければ。あ、
my
大丈夫です。
maintenance.
私はすぐに戻りますので。
Okay. Well, I have a lot to discuss and a lot of things to say, so let's get into that right away. Welcome to the character log for Act 2. For those of you who are maybe new, character logs are a part of my videos where I chat about all the characters and sometimes the plot and the lore, but mostly it's character focused, and I'm going to go character by character. I'll even be talking about certain NPCs, since a lot of NPCs were very plot relevant in this Archon quest. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with Lumine. Lumine, being our MC, is pretty central to the plot, obviously, but I just wanted to point out a couple things. I feel like she's been very consistent for the most part across like all the Nation Archon quests that we've come across. And then in Izuma, we experienced her kind of feeling a little bit of the wear and tear of her journey. Now in Sumeru, it's being approached slightly differently, but I feel like instead of her being unwilling to help people, she's encountering this loneliness I think. Well, what happened in this Archon quest, especially with Dehya, I feel like it really got to her. And I love seeing this. I don't like seeing her suffer, of course, but I really like when they take the time to showcase what Lumine is thinking. Because when it comes to your main character, your main playable character, you can go like one of two routes. You can go the character that you've already defined, or you can go like blank slate, like a Skyrim kind of RPG kind of player character where you literally build them from the ground up. The player has full control over who that character is, what their traits are, what their characteristics are, etc. I really like whenever we get tidbits of how Lumine, or I guess Aether, depending on your traveler, how they are as a person, and they are their own character. We don't get a lot about Lumine, and it's been established earlier in the Archon quests that she doesn't tell us everything, like the player. Like, we don't know everything about Lumine, even though we are her. Sometimes they'll reveal that she knows something that we had no idea she knew about. You know what I mean? So she's a little bit of an unreliable narrator sometimes, which to me is more fascinating because it keeps things mysterious and you never quite know if she knows something or not. This isolation, this loneliness is, I think, gonna really prey on her in a way that it hasn't in previous nations. Because in previous nations, we've always been really accompanied by a lot of people, like a lot of companions. Even in Inazuma, we had not just NPCs, you know, kind of helping us along. Of course, we had the playable companions heavily influencing our journey. But I feel like in Sumeru, it's different. It's different. I feel Lumine is a little isolated. And of course, Nahida was here for us through this this samsara, this endless dream cycle. And I'll get to her. Don't worry, I'll talk about her in a second. But I just think that even with Nahida's presence, Lumine had a lot of pressure to, of course, succeed in breaking the cycle for obvious reasons. I mean, she's been under a lot of pressure before in other nations, but I feel like this pressure is like different. Like, it's more emotional. Like, it's emotionally burdening. And I think it's because it's playing on her fears. I think she's reaching a point in her journey where she's like, okay, I really do want to still find my brother. Like, I think that's still a priority to her. But I think that she's also, after Inazuma, she's really realizing that, like, I do want to help the people of this world. Like, I think she's also wanting, she's becoming motivated to get involved because she's realizing she's an integral piece of this world. She genuinely gives a shit about what happens to these people. Even though she doesn't know every single person in Teyvat, it doesn't matter because she feels motivated by her own principles, her own morality to assist, to help, to infect change, to bring about what's meant to be brought about. Whether she doesn't know always what that means, but I feel like she's, after Inazuma, she feels determined to play her part. So when we get this isolation now where she's not really accompanied by people, yes, Dehya and Dehya and Nahida were constantly interacting with her in the dream cycle, right? Same with the Knight of Flowers. He was constantly interacting with us day to day, but it was empty. It was empty interaction because we knew that this was just a repeated cycle. Lumine knew that nothing she would say to them would matter. The concept of repeating something in that way in which everything loses its meaning. Every interaction turns to ash because it'll be gone. It'll be erased. It holds no sincerity, no weight. Aside from, of course, Lumine will carry this for the rest of her life, but no one else is going to remember. I think that's a different kind of burden to explore giving Lumine because she's carrying a lot already, but this is so unique. I really like this concept of this isolation because I think she's already felt a little bit like that. Like, she's still an outworlder, but I think she never had any shame, and I still don't think she's ashamed of it, but she didn't really care that she didn't fit in. So when we have the situation where every interaction that she has, none of it ends up mattering, I don't know. I feel like it's a cool bit of angst. It's a cool layer of angst to give this character. On top of the fact that she already feels lonely without her brother, this is like a different kind of loneliness. This is kind of like an isolated kind of loneliness where you're surrounded by people and yet you still feel alone. Like, I feel like that's worse. Like, loneliness when you're by yourself sucks, but loneliness when you're in a room full of people or you have a bunch of people in your life and you're interacting with them every day and you still feel alone, that is somehow even worse. And I feel like that's what Lumine was kind of going through. Lumine having to really fight to figure out everything. Nahida trying to prompt her through the process of discovering the truth about what was happening was really an interesting way to push this character, and to also have the player feel like more engaged in trying to figure out the mysteries of everything. I'm sure some people didn't like it because it was a lot of like reading and clicking and interpreting different like things, and sometimes the script kind of repeated things to us that we already picked up through the context of the scene, and the dialogue was just verbally repeating what had already been established like seconds before, which, you know, it was only like a couple times, so it wasn't like that bad. But I did like that we got this new way of being engaged through Lumine, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And I think it's a cool plot to try and introduce this mechanic, because yeah, with the repeating dreams and the beeps, like, you don't know what the hell is going on. This is brand new. Like, Lumine has never gone through anything like this before in her journey. Like, she's never experienced this kind of technology and the control to literally harvest dreams that are corporeal. But of course, in Teyvat, we're learning that a lot of things that should be conceptual and intangible can in fact be manifested into energy or power. You know, it's very cool how Genshin has been introducing these concepts of manifesting the intangible into the tangible. And this process of harvesting dreams is so interesting. And it scares me because I don't know what the fuck the sages are up to. I don't know why they were doing this. What could dreams possibly serve as a battery for? And I think that Lumine kind of discovering there is a higher ceiling of possibility than she originally perceived, along with the player, is really cool. Dreams can have real effect on the people and the environment, and that it can be tangible within the right circumstances. So this development in the plot is really interesting, and I can't wait to see how Lumine navigates all of this, because we have a lot to address. The sages, I don't know what's going to happen with the sages. We got to figure out what the hell they're doing with these dreams. What is the fallout of all this, of like these people who had been essentially exploited and treated like cattle for slaughter? I'm curious. And the Fatui, what are they fucking up to? Because I know they're involved somehow. They're always involved. So where do they come in the plot here? Did they corrupt the sages? Are they working with the sages? I don't know. But I definitely know that they're involved, especially the revelation that Catherine is a Snezhnayan puppet. That was an interesting piece of information. I had heard that she was a robot. Like, I'd seen that rumor and I'd encountered it a couple times, and I was like, okay, that's a little, like, she's a little off. But a Snezhnayan robot? Now that changes the game a little bit, doesn't it? She's not just any robot, which in itself is creepy because she looks like a fully living, breathing human being. That level of technology is scary. But the fact that she's Snezhnayan, I don't like that, because that means that she's probably been spying on us. Not that I blame Catherine, if she even can be blamed for anything. I don't know how much independence cognitively she has from whoever created her, or I don't know what her purpose is. So that's a little unsettling, because Catherine's been along for the ride with us since Mondstadt, right? She's one of the first like NPCs you really interact with regularly, and we still interact with regularly, daily, when you do commissions and get your like expedition rewards. Like, she's who you go to for everything, and you get all commissions for world quests. Everything is through Catherine, which we have to assume, if whatever Catherine knows, the Snezhnayans do, and I'm assuming she's Fatui, or at least created by the Fatui. I think that's safe to assume, right? So everything she knows, we can assume the Fatui have an understanding of, which is kind of scary, which is also why they always pop up everywhere. Like, I always wonder, like, how the fuck do they get around? So, like, how are they everywhere? Like, how do they know everything? Not that I didn't think that they had resources. Obviously, they have a whole spy network, but it's crazy how they just always seem to know intricate details about not just Lumine and where her whereabouts are, but of major deposits of power or ancient relics or artifacts or seals or, you know, anything. They're on top of it. They're already there by the time Lumine gets there. And it makes more sense because if Catherine is Snezhnayan, I mean, she's on top of where all that is. So anyway, little Catherine tangent, but I just wanted to say that I think that Lumine experiencing isolation in this way, loneliness, I think this might be a theme for Sumeru. I'm excited to see more of how this affects her character and how it causes her to react, because her reaction to losing Deniazard, or she perceived that she'd lost her, that she thought that she'd lost her, it was really sad. And obviously Lumine's not heartless. I think anyone would be upset about what happened with Deniazard, and if they thought Deniazard had died, they would be upset. But I think Lumine specifically took it hard. She had to sit down for a whole day to just process. I think loss is something that Lumine really struggles with. Obviously, she's lost her brother in a way, but he's not really lost, but he is kind of lost to her. She has lost him in a sense. She is alone. And I think losing Deniazard, or at least she thought she did, I think it really hit her where she's tender, you know, because I don't think she handles loss very well. I mean, and this has been something that has been set up in other nations, not to this personal degree. Like, this was a very individualistic situation where she personally had interacted with Deniazard. Deniazard had opened up about what had happened to her, what she'd went through as a kid. Like, we knew Deniazard, but I think Lumine has also expressed this kind of grief in response to other losses that she's encountered along her journey. She doesn't always take it that well. And of course, no one at UB have to be a psychopath to react happily to, you know, learning about tragedy, even if it doesn't directly relate to you. I feel like it's naturally, instinctually human to feel some level of sympathy or empathy for people who have gone through something horrible. But I think Lumine specifically really carries it. Like, she really burdens herself with it. And I don't think she necessarily knows why. I think it goes beyond just her being a nice person. I think there's a reason why. I mean, I know I joke that like Paimon always gets her to do shit, and Paimon does stick her nose in things, but if Lumine really didn't want to help people, like commissions every day, and I know you could say, well, that's just the gameplay loop, and yeah, but I can also, I'm allowed to take it into account when evaluating her character. Everything she does and has been doing, there's a reason why she does it. And like I said, this just harkens back to the beginning of my argument where I was saying, I really think that she is starting to give a shit, like really give a shit. And not that she didn't care at all when we were in Mondstadt, but she was very singularly focused on her brother. She didn't really care about uplifting the nation. She kind of did it by accident. You know, like she kind of did it. She was helping without really even realizing that she was changing things for the better, or we don't know for the better. Well, I guess we have to get to the end of the story for that, but she really brought about change, and it wasn't necessarily on purpose. It kind of just worked out that way. And I think as we get into each nation, I feel like that intentional determination to enact change, to assess the environment, assess the people, are they suffering? Can I fix that? And a lot of the time, the answer has been yes. And even more so, you are the only one who can fix it. You are the only one who can witness this, who can really bring about change in a way that matters. And I know Venti and Zhongli have gone on about that to her before in their cryptic ways. So it's not like this is a foreign concept, but I don't know. I'm blabbering, but I'm really fascinated about this journey of her realizing that like I can make a difference. I care to make a difference. It's not just that I can and that I should, but that I want to, because yes, I still care about my sibling, but he is tied up in the fate of this world too. Something's going on. I need to figure it out. I don't know all the information, but I want to care for these people, and if it's in my power to do so. So I think her literally being the sole reason that all of Sumeru City was relieved of their incarceration within their minds. And of course, Nahida helped her through this, right? Lumine wouldn't have been able to do this without Nahida. But, and again, like I said, I'll get to Nahida, but I think Lumine being the sole victor in this situation is super interesting to me. I think we're probably going to get the bombastic fights, you know, as we always do in the, you know, the later archon quests that are wrapping up the plot for that nation. I'm sure we'll get there. I'm sure. But this was a really interesting sort of victory because I feel like there's going to be a lot of fallout from this, but her essentially soloing this problem and bearing the burden of it with, I mean, I was going to say singularly, but yes, technically Nahida remembers and knows all about this, and Nahida has been, you know, she's got her own burdens, but Lumine shouldering this, I don't know. I feel like it's going to drastically affect how she interacts with people in the future, not just within Sumeru, but just in the, I feel like this is going to have detrimental effect on her going forward. This fear of losing people or innocent people taking the brunt of punishment or consequences of those who are actually guilty and who aren't being punished. Let's stop blabbering about Lumine, sorry. We're gonna move on to quickly chat about Paimon for a second. I don't normally talk about Paimon because normally there's not really a need to. She's there to be a mouthpiece for the writers and the plot a little bit, and that's kind of just how she is. I did have issues with her writing in the earlier parts of this quest. I feel like she was just oddly, is agitating the right word? I feel like she was just purposefully pessimistic. Is that the right word? I don't know. I feel like when we were talking, we were going through the stalls. She was just being a hater for no reason. I don't know why they wrote her like that. She complains, like, yeah, she has done that everywhere. But I don't know. I just felt like it was just so unnecessary. It was so aggressive. Like she was so aggressively whiny in this situation for no reason. I don't understand. So I think it soured my opinion of her and her bond with Lumine. Like it just made it, I don't know. It like upset me because I was like, why is she being like this? Like, why did they write her this way? And I should be clear about that. It's more of an issue I have with how she was written, not so much that I'm evaluating her character, because obviously I think this is like a writing thing. Like I don't know why they wrote her that way, because I feel like there's a way to write, you know, like the charming kind of complaining but naive character, which is what Paimon is. She's very naive and she's silly and she complains sometimes. Like she's there to keep the mood up, right? To make sure the player's attention is retained and people are kept up on what's happening. I don't know. I don't really like how they wrote her in the beginning part of this quest. What I do find interesting is her reaction to being separated. Now, when I originally was playing through the quest, I think I was just so stressed about everything else that was going on. I was so stressed about Dunyazard, and I felt a lot of urgency to try and break out of this cycle. Like I was really under pressure. And so when Paimon had the initial reaction to reuniting with Lumine after Lumine had walked out of the city and she hadn't come back, and Paimon had waited for her and she was separated from Lumine. She didn't know what had happened or why, and she was crying, like actually sobbing and being hysterical. And yes, Paimon has jokingly like sobbed before, like being dramatic, but I think this was one of the first times that it was like truly sincere distress from Paimon in a way that we hadn't seen before. Cause like, yeah, she's like, oh, I'm scared when we like do stuff, or she'll hide behind us and like squeak and squeal. But I feel like this was the first time that it was like I said, genuine distress. And I don't think we have seen that before. And I think I was a little shocked. Like these are the moments when I wish I had a face cam, because I was like, wow, I was kind of shocked. I was worried about other things, but I was like kind of taken aback by the reaction. And then I was like, well, why is she reacting this heavily? Is she overreacting like she normally does? Or is this real? I think it was genuine, because playing through the game, the initial reaction is the initial reaction. It doesn't really allow a lot of introspection. That's what this is for, the character log. But I think Paimon was actually distressed, which is cool. Not cool that I'm happy that she, I mean, I don't want her to be upset, because developing the bond between Paimon and Lumine further from just the quips, the silly quips and, you know, the back and forth banter that they normally have, which there isn't a problem with that. That's like normal for them. But developing their relationship a little further into something a little more emotionally complex or layered, I think is interesting and a good direction. I would like to see more of that. I want to know more about that. Let's explore that. So I hope we see more of that in not just Sumeru, but just in general. I hope they take the opportunity to give Paimon and Lumine, or the Traveler, moments to advance their bond, their relationship in a way that feels a little more mature. Not that I think that Paimon has to be mature, but just a mature presentation of their bond, if that makes sense. Like from a writing standpoint, I want to go in this I want them to go in this direction more. And it also makes you wonder, you know, what Paimon is. Like, we don't really know what Paimon is or where she came from. Like, yes, we saved her from the ocean, but what was she doing there? Why was she in it? You know, we don't know. Because at sometimes I'm like, there's no way she knows anything more than we do. But then sometimes, I don't know, she says things that are kind of sus. And I'm like, what was that? You know? So it's like, I don't know if she's as naive as she comes across sometimes, or if it's just inconsistency in her writing. Like, it's hard to tell, you know, if it's nuance or if it's inconsistency. I believe that, I mean, obviously her reaction with Lumine is very intentional. Like, the writers meant for her to have this moment with Lumine. They obviously meant that to be sincere. I believe that, so I'm not criticizing that, but I just hope we see more of that path where we are trying to really understand what these two mean to each other, aside from their banter. What's deeper, what's there. So yeah, I wanted to just give it its credit. I initially was like kind of shocked and a little confused as to why she was acting this way, but like I said, it's because I didn't know if she was being over dramatic as usual or if she was being sincere this time. It's usually her kind of being over dramatic and Lumine's like, you're fine, like don't worry, like it's fine. But this is the first time where I was like, it might have not been fine, and Paimon didn't know that and she freaked out. So her comments about us having left her were really interesting as well. This is something that's rare in the script, where we're getting insight into Paimon's mental state. She blabs and yaps a lot, right? And most of the time it's her being a mouthpiece either for Lumine or just kind of talking and being silly. We don't really get often genuine looks into her character and like what her motivations are or anything like that. And I'm not saying she has to be this like unbelievably complex character. She doesn't need to be that all the time, but I just like that we're at last getting this insight into what her fears are, like genuinely what she's scared of, or maybe what she wants, what her goals are, what her motivations are, aside from just being with the Traveler. What does that mean to her, you know? So I hope we get to explore that more. I just wanted to say that little bit. Well, I blabbed forever, but I just wanted to say that about Paimon. Next, let's move on to Nahida. So I know we had that odd moment with the poop joke, but honestly, I feel like that was an outlier. I don't know if that was the writer. I don't know what was going on there. I really don't. I'm curious to see what you all have to say about that. But I'm not really going to take that much into account when I'm looking at her as a character and what we know of her so far. I think that it's really interesting how they're presenting her and how she has such a like youthful sounding voice, but she's still very mature. And I think it's a really cool contrast. Like, technically 500 years old, I'm assuming that she's 500 years old. Technically, that's not young by any stretch of the means. That's a long time, okay, to be alive, to be cognitive and intelligent in the world, right? That's a long time. And what makes it even more of a twist is that she is essentially been locked up this whole time. We assume. That's what I'm assuming, right? Because we haven't received any information that she's not been that way this whole time. So she's been locked up by the academia this whole time and kind of sheltered, but not sheltered in like a, protective way. Like they blocked her up and kind of treat her more like a battery for the Akasha rather than a deity to worship or an archon that leads them, right? And I find it curious that her form is still so small, that she takes on this form of a child. Even though she's 500 years old, she still has this form of a young child. And you could say, well, she's an Archon and Archons aged. I don't think Archons take aging into account in any way, shape, or form the way humans do. I mean, take Yamiko, for example. She was young back when, but you know, before the Archon Wars and around the Archon Wars, she was young, and then she grew up. So she's I don't know if she's around the same age as, maybe she's a little younger, but she is she's a fully grown person. And of course she's not an Archon, but you get what I'm trying to say. You get what I'm trying to say, right? Like, maybe it's unintentional. Maybe she just sees herself this way, as this young bud, this unbloomed flower where she just has no sun to soak up, no soil to dig roots into. She's kind of kept in this bubble of existence, and she doesn't really know what to do. And I think it's originally I was like really concerned when she said at the very end, when we were talking to her when she was in Catherine, and we'll get to her possessing Catherine, but when she was talking to Catherine, and she was saying, you know, I didn't intervene with what the academia and the sages were doing because, you know, I thought the Akasha was there for them to experiment with. Like, it was this odd, removed take on. I feel like if anyone else was observing the buildup of what the sages were doing with the Akasha, they would have noticed the red flags immediately. And I think this is a unique situation where I can't really blame her for missing them, because if she has no concept, right? If she's been locked up since her quote unquote birth, whatever that means, so we don't know what that means, but the sages found her right away and then locked her up right away, and she's been that way since, and her only interactions with humans have been through dreams. It makes sense that she would have this disjointed understanding of what being human is and what humanity is, but she still inherently values goodness and, I guess, mercy or kindness. Let's say guess on mercy, because I'm not sure how she's going to handle the sages. She seemed pretty merciful. She was like, well, I was like ready to storm the gates, but we don't know what's going to happen next, so I can't make judgments since the whole, you know, the Sumeru story isn't over yet. So we'll see what happens. But I think what I am most fascinated about with Nahida is that her wisdom seems to come in the form of her goodness, of her inherent goodness, her instinctual understanding of what morality is. And I don't know if she learned this through humans, because humans can be corrupt as hell. So well, we can be good, but we can also equally be just as bad. So I don't know if she learned this goodness from us. And there wasn't like there was a god, or at least we don't know. Maybe she did have some sort of connection to the previous goddess somehow. Not sure. She does have a direct line to Irminsul, so maybe she was sifting through memories or something. I don't know. We don't really know. So I don't have a lot to go on, but I think it's an interesting take on the god of wisdom, and that her wisdom isn't necessarily in knowing every little thing about how humans function. Like Zhongli, he knows about all of how human society functions, right? His issue is understanding emotions. He's almost the opposite of Nahida. She doesn't really understand how humans function and what society really means to people and what the inherent values are of human interaction and society. She still doesn't really understand that, but I think she empathizes and can feel what like Dunyazard felt, which is why she came to her when Dunyazard was lonely. She could empathize with the loneliness. She empathized with human emotion as an Archon. And I think that's what Zhongli can't do, right? It's what he says he struggles to do. He can understand every detail, every piece of trivia, every inherent tidbit of knowledge. He remembers his leeway, his people, what society is like, how it functions. He knows all of it. But when it comes down to actually empathizing, he has to really struggle. He doesn't come naturally to him. He doesn't understand. He still doesn't, and still struggles to understand. Even though he loves his people, there's that inherent separation. And I think Nahida is his polar opposite, where she inherently can understand human emotion because she's undergone the suffering that they have gone, or some of her people have gone under. You know, she suffered a very human struggle, which is like isolation and abandonment, and it served her in a way. And I don't know if that's where her kindness is coming from. I think it's not her being extra nice to people who are lonely because she's benevolent that way on purpose. I think it's unconscious. I think she's just like, well, that person feels the same as me. And in her isolated cage, she's seeing someone else in a cage and saying, well, that's like me. And so I think the attempt to reach out to that person and maybe offer comfort simply by being there might also comfort her. I mean, we don't know. We're gonna probably learn more about her, but I think this is an interesting take on the God of Wisdom. I will say I was like a little, I was like, girl, like when she was talking about her, well, lack of plans to really punish the sages, and that they you know, they don't really step out of line. They haven't stepped out of line before, and I just have to investigate. I was like, girl, like, what do you mean? Like, we need to go in like guns blazing. What do you mean? But I think she it wasn't because she was not wanting to punish them or she doesn't believe in justice of any kind. I just think she genuinely doesn't know how to act. She doesn't know what to do. And I think that's interesting, that the God of Wisdom, who should have access to all the knowledge in the world, right, is naive in this way. And personally, I'm not of the opinion that she's a child. I don't think she's a child. I don't think she has the intelligence of a child. Surely not. Surely she does not have the intelligence of a child. I think they managed to get the right balance of she's childlike. I'm not talking about her appearance. I'm talking about her personality and how she interacts with Lumine. It's childlike because they're trying to portray her as like genuinely naive of how humans function, interact, how society works, because children don't know, because I mean, obviously social constructs have to be taught to children. People aren't born knowing it. And I think that's what they were trying to emulate with Nahida, is that she wasn't inherently knowledgeable in a like tangible way how society works and how humans function. It's like she kind of skipped to the hard part and missed all the prep work. You know, she understands the hearts of humans and that inherently the value of dreams, the value of spirit and ambition. But the prep work of what you should know before you get to knowing all that, like the hard stuff, she doesn't know any of that. So it's this interesting kind of disjointed knowledge that she has. So I don't blame her for not being instantly gung-ho, but I don't think it's because she's a baby or she's a child. She's 500 years old and she's had access to the Akasha. I mean, at least I assume, because she can hop through the Akasha. That's how she was able to get into our dreams, right? And her connection with Irminsul. So she's not a child. So I don't think that's the take I'm going with. I don't think that's the case at all, especially with how she presented herself throughout the quest. Like, it didn't come across to me like that she's a child. So anyway, I like her so far. I mean, there's not much you could, there would not be a reason for me to dislike her. But I just hope we see her come to understand the gravity of what the sages have done. And I think she knows that it's bad, or that it's wrong, or that she needs to protect and fix it. She's being stopped by either her own insecurities, or she just simply doesn't know how to go about fixing it pragmatically. She just doesn't know what to do, like what next step to take, or how to go about uprooting the rot, because that was something that even Inazuma struggled with. Like, the rot with the Fatui within the clans was so deep, and uprooting all that almost collapsed Inazuma as a nation. So Nahida trying to shoulder a similar responsibility of uprooting the rot, and this time, oh, actually, the Fatui might be involved with the rot. I'm sure they are, or maybe corrupting the sages. Who fucking knows? But people who are super smart tend to have enormous ambitions, so it might not be simply the Fatui's fault. We might have some genuinely evil motherfuckers that are sages, that are leaders in this institution, that are bad all by themselves. Maybe they're working with the Fatui to further their plans or whatever, but it's understandable that she might be intimidated trying to take on this responsibility when she's not been an acting leader at like ever. So like I said, I was like initially like, girl, what are you talking about? We need to get on this. We need to go. We need to fix the problem. So I'm not saying that I was upset or not even aggravated. I wasn't aggravated. I was just like confused about her seemingly lack of urgency. I think it wasn't because she didn't care or that she didn't think that justice was required. I think she was just unsure. Unsure what to do. And that's not her fault, or it's not a bad reflection of who she is. I think she just genuinely didn't know what the fuck to do. But I'm excited to see her moving forward. I mean, I hope we get to see her come into her own a little more and realize that if she isn't gonna stand up to protect her people, who the fuck will? Which is, of course, every nation has, you know, their different plot, but I feel like with this one, I feel like we're essentially watching, or I hope we're gonna watch an archon come into their own and help better their nation. And I feel like we've seen iterations of that in each nation. Like Venti, his absence was his way of bettering his nation, right? Zhongli was similar. His absence in a time of crisis was him attempting to better his nation. With Raiden, her way of bettering her nation was coming to face herself and her principles and taking a real look at her people and what they need from her as a leader, and having the courage to say, you know what? I need to restart. I need to be this for them and for myself and for the memory of my sister and the people who I've lost. And that was her way of bettering her nation. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how we follow Nahida and her journey as the Archon and what she will eventually be able to share with us, because she has access to Irminsul, and Irminsul has access to the history of Teyvat. So I really hope we get information about our brother, like real juicy information. Like they have to, right? They have to. There's no excuse. So I can't wait to get to that. A little side note about her ability to like psychically possess people. She said she could do that to a person, but she doesn't want to, and I like that. That's reassuring. That she respects people and she doesn't want to just randomly teleport into people's brains and control them like puppets. She's like, I'm not with that, no. But since Catherine is a literal puppet, is a robot, I should say, there was not that guilt there. But I think that's an interesting ability that we should keep our eye on. It adds to my anxiety a little bit, not gonna lie. I'm not talking about this in relation to any of the characters. This is a personal opinion. This entire quest has freaked me the fuck out. I do not like psychological horror because, okay, blood, who cares? Jump scares, yeah, I mean, sometimes they can get me, but I'm not like genuinely terrified of a jump scare. I'm just a jumpy person. But when it comes to people messing with your mind, that shit is terrifying. I'm on my knees, okay? When there's anything regarding to messing with your mind, who you are, your perception of things, like that shit is scary. So the idea that they were able to essentially brainwash and harvest dreams from an entire city of people is so disturbing to me. And that Nahida, despite being a positive and morally good influence within the plot, the fact that she has the ability to possibly control somebody isn't a comfy thought. Do I think she'd ever do that in a bad, like to take advantage of someone or to use that ability with malice? Of course not. I don't think so. No. But the fact that it's possible is uncomfortable to me. So I'm not saying that as a reflection on Nahida's character or that I think she would do anything evil with her ability, but it just, it's a little unsettling. I think it's unsettling. Getting inside someone's head without their consent is unsettling, you know? So I wonder if that will continue to pop up too, if she's gonna get into maybe our heads or maybe someone else's heads, we'll see. But I feel like there's a reason why they slipped that, you know, her talking through Catherine. I know technically her body is locked up where they're keeping her, so she had to, if she wanted to communicate with us, well, I'm pretty sure she probably could have just spoke right into our heads because she did that before when we were on the Summer Islands, but she chose to possess Catherine. So it was a choice, either by Nahida or the writers, to demonstrate that she has this ability. So anyway, interested about where her story is going to go. Let's move on to Dehya and Dunyazard. I'm roping them together because I feel like they were very closely, they have a very similar impact on Lumine and the plot. Dunyazard, I feel like, is one of the most important NPCs we've encountered so far. Yes, we've had important NPCs. I've said this before, but we've had important NPCs in other nations, but I feel like this is the first time we've really have an NPC that's non-playable, right? That has had a major effect on the plot and Lumine personally, like on a really deep level. Lumine experiencing grief to the extent that she was says a lot about how she views her relationship and her bond with Dunyazard and what she values about Dunyazard as a person. I think Dunyazard's resilience and her bravery to be vulnerable and to open up, I think that's what's so beautiful about this character, is that she is going through all these things and she is experiencing so much pain, but she always goes out of her way to, instead of pushing people away or trying to punish people for not experiencing the same pain that she does, because some people do that. If someone's in pain, sometimes they inflict pain on others to make themselves feel better. Maybe they do it consciously or unconsciously, but Dunyazard isn't like that. And she chooses to accept her vulnerabilities with grace and be a positive force in other people's lives. And I think that's a beautiful thing. You know, I think it's a beautiful quality in a character or a person in general. And I truly think it's a virtue because it's not easy. You know, I mean, I have no experience with illnesses that are permanent or continuous. I have no experience with that. I can't speak to a personal extent, but I can imagine that the sorrow, the constant anger at not being able to be who you want to be or do what you want to do because you're restricted beyond your control, something you can't control and something that can't be fixed. I can't imagine how awful that mental loop can be. And to be like her and to experience all that and to still put on a brave face and be a positive force in other people's lives and bring them happiness to share. I don't know. I just think it's a very lovely thing. So I really like Dunyazard. I think she's a beautiful character and I can't wait to see more of her, because let me tell you, when I thought she was dead, I was like, okay, that's it. Like the first time we get a character that is non-playable, that's actually well developed, they're just gonna kill off, like, fuck you. But I'm really glad she's not dead. Like, I'm really glad that we ended up saving her. Obviously her Eleazar is still an issue, so, but I feel like that's a tied to the greater plot of Sumeru as a nation. So I'm sure that will be addressed at some point. But I really just have to say, I love this character. I think she's a great person and they did a great job of displaying those qualities in a way that was moving and not preachy. Because I feel like sometimes when you have very virtuous characters in a script, whether it be for a game, movie, show, book, whatever, sometimes super virtuous characters can come across really preachy, like, oh, they're like on a high horse, and it's not intentional, but it kind of comes across that way because of the way they've been written and how they interact with other characters. But I felt Dunyazard was a very sincere attempt at just what a person who's been through a lot and who is experiencing circumstances outside of their control, what resilience would look like. And I know that might sound boring on paper, but I don't know. I think it was really refreshing to see. And not that there's been a shortage of good people in Teyvat. I mean, obviously we've had a lot of our companions are very morally good people. I think it was a nice way to essentially make you care about what's going on. And it raised the stakes for us getting out of the samsara. So I think they did a good job of making us give a shit about this character. So it made everything else feel urgent. Like, that's why I was so panicked. I was like feeling urgent and I had anxiety because I was like, I want to break out of this thing. Like, let's go chop, 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 because Dunyazard's fucking dying. I mean, everyone else was suffering too, but it's like a personal stake for the players. So I appreciated that. When it comes to Dehya, I really like that she could like sense Dunyazard and they seem to be really close, which is really nice. It's cool to see a playable character have a relationship with a NPC that's very developed. They have a very developed friendship, mostly because we have a more, Lumine has a developed relationship with Duny Izzard, so it was like a, you know, like a three-way, like we were able to get a lot of interaction between the three of them. And I appreciated it. Like, I think Dehya's a cool character to introduce. She's just cool. Like, she's just cool. I think the way they went about having her help us figure out the smaller details of the samsara cycle, like the muscle memory thing with her sword, the different kinds of cuts on the training dummy, and she would know for sure if they were replicated or not. I thought they were just, that was cool little tidbits about her character, and that she's really an expert at what she does. Like, she's not just some mercenary. Like, she is knowledgeable within her body and her mind of her craft, and she takes it seriously, and she cares a lot about employing her skill set into protecting and or caring for people she cares about. And I like that. So it's a great quality in a person, and I really appreciate that they showed those bits of her in this like kind of immersive way where there's like, it was very relevant to the plot. They weren't like info dumping on us about facts about her character. They were allowed us to gather this information about her through the course of the plot. So I appreciated that. I really did. I really like Dehya. She's like one of the coolest characters ever. I can't wait till she's playable. Definitely pulling her. She's so cool, not just visually, but I just think like she's just one of those people that I would just want to be friends with IRL. Like, she seems like such a cool person, and that she'd always have good advice, and she'd always have your back, like in anything. Like, you know what I mean? She just seems like a really good person. Like, I just want to be friends with her. I really am curious if she's going to be our window into maybe the desert area, because she seems to be the only person that we've met within Sumeru so far, or Sumeru City, I should say, so far, that's from the desert. So I'm excited, and I mean like a playable character. Obviously, we had all the encounter with the Eremites with Alhaitham, but I mean like a playable character. So I'm excited to get a personal view through her eyes of like context, like what's going on with the desert. Why is there the separation between the city and the desert? What happened? What's the cultural climate like? Why is there kind of a rub between the two kind of cultures, subcultures of Sumeru? So I'm interested. All right, let's move on to Nilou. So initially I was like, okay, she's like a cool character. She's pretty. She's got like red hair. She's got like the cool veil. Like, I really liked her outfit. I liked that she was a dancer because I used to be a professional dancer. So I was like, ooh, a dancer, like how cool. And she cares a lot about the arts, and they established this interesting kind of dynamic with the sages having this propaganda of like arts and music and dance, and like all kind of art is essentially useless. It's not real wisdom. It adds nothing to a person's intellect, which of course is complete bullshit. But I like that she defends the arts. She's a representation of the emotional intelligence that art can bring to people's lives, and how it can touch people on a massive scale. I mean, art is the heart of human existence to me. Like, yes, we created all this technology, but we created it. It took invention and imagination and innovation to do all of that. It came from our sense as humans. I mean, I think inherently we have this sense of curiosity, of discovery, of wanting to create, to craft, to make something that either reflects our ambitions, our needs, or ourselves, like emotional reflections, which is why I think we all love to go watch movies and read books and manga and anime and games. Like, we love these stories because it's a reflection of us, and we get to see ourselves in characters. And the fact that she represents within this whirlpool of sterile, ice cold academic intellect that's very exploitative and harsh and limiting and oppressive. She's this eye of the storm. And of course, obviously, she's probably not the only artist in Sumeru ever. But within the story and the plot, she is the eye of the storm. She represents all the beauty that is being stolen from people, and that intellect can take the form, that wisdom, I should say, not intellect, that wisdom isn't just academic smarts, that wisdom can mean more than just sciences or mathematics or, you know, anything that the sages were promoting as quote unquote real intellect, real wisdom. Wisdom can come in all different forms, and art is a form of wisdom. And I stand on all my toes, 10 toes down on that. I truly do. And it's not just because I'm an artist. I truly believe that if you discount art and artists within society and you think that they're irrelevant or unnecessary, then you're stupid. Sorry, like peace and love, but like you're stupid. I'm just like, sorry, like if you think art doesn't mean anything, you're delusional. And I think that Nilou represents that same kind of idea, and that resistance is so beautiful to me. I really enjoy this element of the story. Obviously, I like Nilou for what she represents in the story more so than I know about her personally. So hopefully we get the chance to like actually learn more about Nilou, like as a person, as a woman, because I would love to know more about who she is, how she grew up, and how she became who she is today, and what inspired her to start dancing, and what inspired this faith that she has in her archon, in Nahida, who she's never seen, never met, she's been told all her life, I'm assuming through growing up with the propaganda, that like she's not supposed to give a shit about this archon, right? That they're supposed to have full reverence for the old one only. So I would love to learn more about her journey into the woman she is, and where this resilience came from. And I have personal investment in a story like that. I know not everyone gives a shit, but I personally do. I think it's very interesting, and she reminds me a lot of qualities that I have and have seen in artist friends and people who value arts and, you know, that kind of thing. So I would love to see more from Nilou on a personal level, but I really love what she represents in the story, and that she's this like beacon of beauty, and she represents something so human that it's human to enjoy music, to try to express yourself in whatever way you can, and that expression doesn't always have to come through words or facts or observations. Sometimes expression is silent or through music or dance or whatever. So I really like what she represents in the story, and I hope we get to see more of that. Because the sages are not defeated. And I truly fear what the repercussions are going to be, because obviously they chose Nilou to be the host of the dream, right? So the fact that the dream broke means that she woke up and broke the dream. And I just worry if there's going to be retaliation and what the level of that retaliation is going to be. I can't imagine she'll be getting away scot-free. That would make no sense to me, especially with how ruthless the sages seem to be. Like if they're willing to put a whole city, children included, and innocents to sleep and harvest from them until their people are like empty husks, because we saw that like with Dunyazard, like her spirit, her consciousness couldn't take it. And yes, she was weaker, but eventually that's what would happen to everybody. Pulling on people's minds like that, draining them in that way is so evil. And eventually that's what would have happened to everybody. So these sages just didn't give a shit about anybody, and they were just like, we're gonna just use them like batteries. It's just so horrible. So I can't imagine sages or, you know, the academia people involved in this project, they're so ruthless in this way. I can't imagine that Nilou's we're not gonna have to come to her defense at some point or help her fight them off or something, because there's just no way. So I'm a little worried about that, but I am excited to see where the story goes and how this idea about the resilience of the human spirit and the expression of that through art, and how that is valuable and everyone should value that. I'm not saying it's more important than like other aspects. Like academic intelligence is also important, right? But I feel like most people don't value them as equal. But anywho, I really like Nilou and like what she represents. I hope we get to learn more about her personally, but I really like what she stood for in the story. I really do. And that ending cutscene with her dancing was very pretty, very lovely. So kudos to HOYO-verse for that. Okay, I just wanted to say that I kind of already talked about this a little bit in the nilou section, but I truly think there's something so inhuman about what the sages are doing. There's such a lack of human decency. And it's so disturbing and upsetting. Like, honestly, it's upsetting. I mean, most people I think are upset by it, but it really disturbs me. Like, it gets to me because I internalize this and I think to myself, like, these people were willing to harvest an entire city of innocent people and drain them of their spirit, essentially, of their souls, drain them of all they are to fuel whatever fucking evil shit they're up to. With not a blink of the eye. Like, that's insane to me. That's such an insane level of exploitation. Insane. And it just upsets me. Like, it's upsetting, bro. So I really detest the sages. I hate what they're doing. It's irredeemable. Everyone involved in this, irredeemable. I don't care what their excuses are. I don't care. I truly don't think any of the people involved, especially the Grand Sage and the higher up sages, like the leader sages of each of the Darshans, who I'm assuming have a hand in all this, right? Or maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. We haven't really been into the academia yet, so we don't know what the atmosphere is like there. I don't care. I don't care what they're trying to do. I don't even care if they're like, oh, if it comes to this convoluted plan to somehow protect the city. I don't fucking know. I don't care. There is no excuse, there's no explanation, there is no pass, get out of jail free card here. To me, I've drawn the line. There's no way they could explain themselves out of this one. In this way, the ends do not justify the means. Hell fucking no. Especially not these means, and I don't know what the ending, like what their goal is, but bro, like it makes me so upset. So I hope we get to properly bring those people to justice. If it was me, off with their heads. Like, like they don't deserve to live. And you could say, well, oh, they deserve to suffer more. I don't care. I don't want them around to possibly cause further harm. I don't think Nahida is gonna murder anybody, but I really hope that she does. Maybe we can do it. Like, can we do it, bro? Anyway, I'm sort of joking, but I am not joking, at least about the fact that I don't think that these people are redeemable, and I want justice for the innocence of Sumeru, because like I said, the whole city, that includes children, okay? Obviously, everyone in the city is innocent anyway, so that's already bad, okay? But the elderly, the children, oh Lord, there's no coming back from that. So I just wanted to rant a little bit about that because I truly think that it's just so despicable, and I think that it's great buildup. This is a cool villain for this nation. I think it's a interesting take on the dangers of academic ambition and innovation that causes more harm than good, if any good at all. So I don't know. I think it's cool that they've kind of gone this direction in terms of an antagonistic force within the narrative. So I'm excited. I'm excited to confront the Grand Sage if he's really behind all this, or if the Fatui, I mean, the Fatui definitely are involved. I don't have confirmation, but they're for sure involved. I don't know if they're truly behind this or if the Grand Sage is working with them and they're just equally bad. So we'll see. We will see, but there is something evil, truly evil going on in that academia. Truly. And that's not even bringing up what they did to Nahida. And you know how Nahida said, like, oh, the sages, they've never stepped out of line before. I think that's just her not realizing that they stepped out of line locking her up. Hello? Like, what do you mean they never stepped out of, and of course it's not the same sages that locked her up 500 years ago, but she was saying that, like, oh, the sages have always done a good job of ruling this country, this nation, and they've never stepped out of line before. But, like, do you realize that they stepped out of line the instant they try to lock you away? Like, hello? So I think that I mean, I talked about that in Nahida's part, so I'm not going to go on and on about it again, but I hope she comes to realize the true gravity and depth of their wrongdoing, and that there is something so evil going on in that academy. Seriously. So I hope well, I'm sure we will encounter it, but I hope we clear it out, get rid of the rot, because literally, fuck them. Fuck the sages. They said art is not important. Fuck you. Yes, it is. They said that dreaming is for pussies. Fuck you. Of course, they didn't say it like that, but you know what I mean. They said that dreaming is useless, which is just insane. I know it's propaganda, so it's not logical anyway, but dreams, aside from art, okay, but dreams is also just so inherently human. To imagine your ambition, to imagine maybe your desires, your fears. It's a form of unconscious self-reflection. And that's how, I don't know how you can get more human than that. So trying to take people's humanity from them, their ability to self-reflect, to dream, is so bad. Like, it's bad. So I hope we see them fall. I hope the tumble from the top of the tower is a harsh fall. I want to see them fall. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you did, as always, I very much appreciate you spending your time with me. I am so sorry that this was so late, but for those of you who are maybe not on Discord, I am in school. I'm in college, so I am currently doing my semester of classes. So I do plan on continuing to upload weekly. Like, I still want to do that. But this was my first week of school. This past week was my first week of school, so just give me a little grace. I was trying to adjust and figure out like what my schedule is, and like, you know, blocking out what each class is going to require of me time-wise, and so that I can figure out when I can edit, and, you know, making sure also to take care of myself so I don't burn out or whatever. So just give me a little adjustment period. You guys have never pressured me or made me feel bad about that in the past, and I'm grateful for that. Truly, you guys are always very kind. But I just wanted to update you and let you know that it's not because I'm uninterested in making videos or whatever. I truly am. I'm just trying to juggle school. I'm also working part-time. So I have school, I have a job, and I'm trying to, you know, keep up on the channel, and I miss streaming as well. I know it's only been like a week or so that since I last streamed, or maybe it was like 2 weeks. I don't know. But regardless, I want to keep on top of things as best as I can. I still want to upload every week, so I'm gonna try and hold to that, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm in school, and I'm have a full semester of units and classes and courses, so I'm just trying to figure out what the best schedule looks like for me. If you would like, I have all my socials down in the description, so if you would like to come say hi in Discord or when I'm live, I would very much appreciate it. Our community is very chill. We're very kind, and we talk about anything and everything. Obviously, our main discussion topics tend to center around like Genshin, HSR, Wuthering Waves, but we talk about everything. So if you just want to come and say hi, or maybe if you just want to get notifications and you don't really want to, you kind of just want to lurk and you don't want to talk, that's also fine. No judgment. But yeah, if I don't see you live, then I will see you in the next one.